Liberal Party is going to win now in the next election, most likely. And they were down and out. Isn't that going to make them more hostile to us and possibly
I'd rather deal with a liberal than a
for China closer to Canada? And that would really put us in a bind.
The conservative that's running is stupidly no friend of mine. I don't know him, but he said negative things. So when he says negative things, I couldn't care less. I think it's easier to deal actually with a liberal.
Canadians are going to the polls tonight, and as you just saw, President Trump did not mince words about what he thought of these elections. He frankly could care less who wins, but that is most certainly not the sentiment that most Canadians have. And so the big question tonight is, will Canada destroy itself just despite Trump? Are they going to go full George Floyd here? Are they going to burn down their nation as protest against Orange Man? That is the concern that so many Canadian patriots have, and that's what we're going to be talking about on tonight's live stream Monday night. Come on in, one and all. Great to see you all here as we do every Monday night. We're going to move our lively discussion of all things culture and politics over to our exclusive censorship-free virtual platform. So if you want to join us over there for some sweet fellowship and awesome scholarly discussion, just scan that QR code on the screen there or click the link in the description below for a very, very modest monthly fee. You can have access to our exclusive Q&As, exclusive content, exclusive conversations and meetups, and you get access to all of our exclusive offers. It's a very exclusive club. So click that link in the description below or scan the QR code to become a member of the Courageous Patriots Club, where thousands of us gather together each week to restore the pillars of faith, family, and freedom as we usher in a new conservative age. We will head on over there in mere moments. Now, we may be seeing a bit of an impediment to that new conservative age here, at least when it comes to our wonderful neighbors in the Great White North. As you saw just seconds ago, for whatever reason, Trump does not like Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem is. I've looked it up. I've researched it. Maybe some of you guys know can tell us in the comments, in the chat. But Trump appears to see him, ironically, as an obstacle to what he wants to achieve with Canada. Remember, and I just think it's very important that we take a couple of steps back here. The whole 51st state rhetoric obviously clearly turned Canadians against Trump, against the United States. I know I have family in Arizona, as many of you know, and I found out that several Canadian neighbors left, and they left. They went back to Canada, apparently because they were so upset about the rhetoric that was coming out of D.C. So Trump's rhetoric, Canada being the 51st state, very disparaging, very insulting. And it's made Canada nationalist in a kind of weird, woke way. Poilievre, the conservative leader, since January, since frankly November, when he was leading by 30 points, he just didn't seem to know how to effectively respond to Trump's taunts, for lack of a better term, politically. He just didn't know how to do it. In fairness, Trump's criticism of Canada are Trudeau specific. So, in effect, Trump has been saying, you Canadians have been under the leadership of a clown these past 10 years. And under his leadership, you're spending barely 1% of your GDP on defense expenditures. You're one of only 8 nations that refuses to honor your 2014 promise to spending at least 2% of your GDP on defense. Trudeau did that. You used to have a secure border. Now it's wide open. Trudeau allowed that. He purposely implemented asymmetrical trade policies and tariffs that are giving Canada $60 to $100 billion trade surplus with the United States. A lot of Americans were actually shocked to find out that Canada doesn't allow American dairy products in. American dairy products are basically banned in Canada. They were shocked to find out that Canada exports timber to us, but we're not allowed to export timber to Canada. There are all kinds of trade barrier policies and tariffs that have allowed Canada to accumulate upwards of $100 billion trade surplus with the United States. So all of this 51st state rhetoric by Trump is not actually serious. No one is actually expecting Canada to become the 51st state. Nobody in this country wants it. We don't want California on steroids. Instead, it's Trump's unique way. It's the art of the deal. It's his own unique way, peculiar way of bringing Canada to the bargaining table, to making a deal that rectifies all of these disparities. That gets them paying their fair share in defense for the North American civilizational sphere, that creates parity and fairness in trade, that secures the border. But instead of pivoting off of Trump and zeroing in on Trudeau, and now Mark Carney, the Mark Carney administration, who's now the leader of the Liberal Party, instead of zeroing in how Trudeau and Carney have basically destroyed Canada and then offering a bold vision in turn, instead of that, it just seemed that Poilievre decided to actually parrot the rhetoric of the left against Trump. He wanted to show himself. He wanted to show that he could stand up to Trump more than Carney, rather than rise above it all and just laugh and say Trump is just mocking the mess that Trudeau and the Liberals have made of Canada. Instead, Poilievre seemed to amplify what the left was already saying in response. We'll never be your 51st state. Canada's not for sale. Our national sovereignty isn't for negotiation. Now, of course it's not. But Trudeau has made Canada weak. He's made, how do I say this? And I think patriots know exactly what I'm talking about. He's made Canada the laughingstock of the world. And Trump is pouncing on that weakness. And what Trudeau could have done is he could have said, we're going to make Canada strong and powerful and prosperous and free again. And and no country will ever mock us again. But instead of that, Poilievre parroted the Liberals' talking points against Trump. And all the polls show this. And the result is Poilievre inadvertently ended up helping the Liberals regain the lead, because his anti-Trump rhetoric effectively erased whatever difference there was between the Conservatives and the Liberals. Now, don't get me wrong. In one sense, it may have always been a lose-lose for the Conservatives. And that's why I wonder if Trump is actually trying to do this. If this is the result Trump wants. That's what he told Laura Ingraham. You heard him. I want the Liberal. I want a weak Canada to maximize what we can get out of it. It may be what he's trying to do. But this 51st state rhetoric did put Poilievre in a lose-lose situation. If the Conservatives push back against Mark Carney, the new leader of the Liberals, if Poilievre and the Conservatives push back against Carney, then they were accused of amplifying Trump's call to degrade Canada to just another state. And but if I'm getting ahead of myself, but if they sound just like the Liberals, then why change governments? I mean, if you're just going to give us more of the same, if you're just going to do what Mark Carney's going to do, what's the point of having you in charge if you're not offering a viable alternative? Either way, Trump, again, either intentionally or intentionally, put Poilievre on the politically defensive and turned him more or less into a supposed Trump puppet. And this is what I was going to get into. I mean, this is what I'm seeing on X. If we vote conservative, we're voting for the MAGA wing of Canada and thus voting for those disparaging us as a 51st state. If we vote Poilievre, we're basically selling out our country because Poilievre will do that. Again, it's frankly stunning to me that Canadians are falling for this, that they're actually willing to vote to live another 2 to 4 years under the Liberal Party, the very Liberal Party that's basically destroyed Canada just to spite Trump. I get it. You may not like what he's saying, but are you literally going to keep the party in power that has ravaged Canada economically and culturally? Your life expectancy is down. Your standard of living is down. I mean, Jordan Peterson's gone. He's now in Arizona, right? He's detailed extensively how Trudeau and the Liberals have utterly wrecked Canada. And yet, because of the seething hatred for Trump, because of this national TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, Canadians are about to self-immolate. They're going the way of the George Floyd protests. They're basically burning themselves down. So we'll have to see how things turn out. But right now, I mean, you guys have probably seen this, but Polymarket is giving the Liberals an 80% chance of retaining power, of winning the election tonight. After 10 years of the embarrassment of Trudeau. That's just stunning to me. And I think it's just testimony to how woke so many Canadians really are. Again, you may have a different view, and again, this is why we have our live stream Monday nights and our Q&A over on our own exclusive virtual platform where you can explain, a counterpoint or say, no, I think it's more this or that. But as far as I'm seeing it, Canadians, as of today, may have decided to destroy themselves in the end, just to spite Trump, which then raises the question, who is the real loser here? Over to you. Micah, our producer, will let us know what instructions we need to move on over to our virtual private platform. How you doing, Micah?
Doing great. And that is correct, Dr. Steve. We are about to move over to our uncensored Q&A, where we have many, many members who join us every Monday night and every Friday morning that they get all of their questions answered. So if you want a express ticket to asking Dr. Steve your questions, or just unprecedented access to in-person events, exclusive content, and of course, 8 Q&As a month where you get to ask as many questions as you'd like. You don't have to pay per question, just per month. And then you can get as much worth out of that as you'd like. It's a very small monthly fee of only $10. So we would love to have you join our Courageous Conservatives Club by scanning that QR code right below, right here, or clicking on that link in the description below. We are going to showcase some of those questions that we have from our members. And if you are in the YouTube chat and you would like to ask a question, you can through a super chat. However, YouTube does take a massive portion of super chats. And so it would be much more beneficial both to us and to you to spend, $10 for once a month and then just fire away all the questions that you have. So without further ado, we will see some of these questions from our loyal Courageous Patriot members, or as they call themselves, the Turley Troublemakers. So if you'd like to become a Turley Troublemaker, go right ahead and click that link below. We have a question from, let's see. We've got some good ones. Turley Troublemaker number 5. What has Taylor Swift been up to lately? Are both she and Travis Kelce having a tough time because they didn't get a ring in 2025?
Oh, yeah.
I think referring to the
rings,
Eagles
right?
Celebrating their Super Bowl victory lap at the White House today. That was some great clips came out of that.
Yeah, and I think you have some for later on tonight, correct?
Yes,
yeah.
I do.
So Mike and I are in the greater Philly area, so we're riding high, very happy. I don't know if you saw Cliff Maloney was there of Pennsylvania Chase. He was on the White House lawn getting to soak it in. So one of our good friends was right there in this wonderful Victory Day visit to the White House by the Eagles. Yeah, Taylor Swift. I mean, obviously, she is not with the vibe of the under 30 vote. The Gen Z vote is, as you know, now fully MAGA. We're talking 60% MAGA. Of all of the ages, they are, when you divide up age demographics, Gen Z polls the highest for Trump. Now, they're also, fair enough, they're also a bit fickle. They could go up, they could go down, that kind of stuff. And the latest polls, I would not pay attention to. I would look at very set ones like Rich Barris, People's Pundit, Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen, Quantum Insights, Atlas Intel, Trafalgar. Those are very good polling outlets. They're the ones who will tell you who's going to be president, and they'll have 99% accuracy. I would not trust the response bias polls that are coming out showing the world as everybody hates Trump now. Those are all just nonsensical polls. Performative truth, as we say, rather than correspondence theory of truth. They are not reporting. They are fabricating. And so, no, I think Taylor Swift is out of it. She's a very talented person. She's doing great in her career and so forth. When it comes to politics, she's about as clueless as they get. And then Travis, he's just about as pathetic as they get.
We have a more relevant question, maybe. Thank you for that question, the Turley Troublemaker 5. I don't know who you are, but you did ask us to guess, so I guess we'll figure that out in the uncensored stream. Steve-O, do you think that Alberta will entertain joining the United States as the 51st state?
So there was already a delegation. They came out just weeks ago to discuss precisely that. It would be interesting. I don't know if Alberta wants to live another 2 to 4 years under the Liberal regime. If you guys don't know, Alberta is often referred to as the Texas of Canada. As I understand it, the majority of Canada's trade surplus comes from Alberta because of the oil, energy, and the like. So Alberta is just the can-do spirit of Canada. And I if that were to happen, Saskatchewan. Am I saying Saskatchewan? Why am I? It's too late for me tonight. I think they might drag Saskatchewan with them. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what the results are. The initial results now just reported 10 minutes ago. Conservatives are at 75%, liberals at 21%, but that's less than just a little over 1% reporting. So that's going to change. You don't know until you hit about 70% of the vote in. So it's a possibility. We'll have to see how things go. Albertans are proud Canadians. But if they could be pushed to the brink of not wanting to be a part of this nonsense any longer. And that would be fascinating to see. That might be Trump's plan all along, for all we know. He starts doing the 51st state thing, freaks out Canadians. They run to the Liberals. They vote the Liberals in, and all of a sudden you have Albertans and Saskatchewan vote to leave Canada, and we get two of their most conservative provinces. Maybe that's exactly what he was looking for. I don't know. That would be 6D chess if that were the case. So we'll have to see.
Well, he's definitely proven time and time again to be thinking at least one step ahead of everyone else that's
for sure
playing against. So would not be surprised with whatever dimension of chess he's playing. We're going to do one more, and then we will transition over to our uncensored live stream. So please click that link below. We have a question from William O'Toole. Do you see a scenario where Dems implode and two parties emerge, one Marxist led by the AOCs and one far left led by the Schumers? Or is this a pipe dream that would destroy all things Democrat for a generation or more? Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's not a pipe dream, Will. People are all openly talking about this. The Democrats are in a very real civil war. They're in a civil war. We saw it originally with the pro-Palestinian progressives and the pro-Israeli liberals, more establishment Democrats versus sort of the new breed of very Marxist woke Democrat. And they're increasingly coming to power. The Marxist woke Democrat, we're seeing it with David Hogg, we're seeing it with AOC. And the establishment Democrats hate them as much as they hate MAGA. They do not like them. They see them as a threat to their power because they know no one's going to vote for them. All you have to do is listen to James Carville. James Carville said, when have we ever voted for an all-out, overt, explicit Marxist? When have we done that for president? I mean, not even technically, not even Vermont does that. I mean, Bernie presents himself very favorably as a populist leftist. He'll say he's a socialist when you push him, but generally speaking, he's a populist leftist. I mean, AOC, Hogg, these guys are Marxists. They're as cultural Marxists as you can get. Jasmine Crockett, they're absurd. So this has the possibility of splitting the party because if the donors and if the establishment see the progressive woke far left sabotaging any chance of coming to power, they're going to do what they can to emancipate themselves and try to reinvent themselves. So we'll have to see. The theory that I'm operating with, and again, it's tenuous, so it could change, but the theory I'm operating with is the Democratic Party basically demographically dies. Blue states are losing population left and right. The only population gain are red states and specifically religious demographics, conservative religious demographics. Eric Kaufman, back in 2013, in his book, Shall the Religious Inherit the Earth? And his answer is yes, just purely because of demographics being destiny, predicted, so this is almost 20 years off. In 2013, he predicted that the culture wars would tip decisively to the conservative side by 2030. And the reason for that is because at that point, the demographic shift had hit a generation where conservatives, religionists were finally going to start outnumbering secular liberals. And lo and behold, take a look at the reapportionment for the Electoral College in 2030. Lo and behold. I mean, we're picking the right, solid right seats. We're looking at a pickup of about 20 to 24 seats now in Congress when you combine the reapportioned seats that we're getting because of population increases in the red states, again, solid red states like Texas, Florida, and Tennessee, and so on. So solid red state, Idaho, solid red states, plus they're gerrymandering. They're also gerrymandering at the same time to get more seats, another 8 or 10 seats combined. So you put all that together, we're getting an extra 24 seats. They're losing anywhere from 12 to 14 seats. So it's a net gain. It's a swing of over 30 seats. And then, of course, there's more red states than blue states. That means that they're not going to be, Democrats aren't going to be in this Senate majority anytime soon. And then kiss goodbye the presidency, because now with the new electoral reapportionment, we can lose Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania in every election and still win the Electoral College. And by the way, we're not going to lose Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is going the way of Ohio, and New Jersey is going the way of Pennsylvania. So all of this to say is the nation is reddening, and the more it reddens, the less Democrats will be a viable party. And so then what will then probably happen is that the Republicans will split into two parties, a traditionalist party and a tech right party. So trad right and tech right, they're united right now. So Silicon Valley is united with social conservatives, but there may be some tensions there that are considered irreconcilable. And so that'll be the new split. They'll both be MAGA. They're both very MAGA oriented. That won't even be debated. But you will have different programs, different platforms to make America great again. And boy, that's a competition I'd love to see. So there's a very real possibility Democrats won't even be a viable party in the next 10 years. I mean, just not even exist. And when you say, will they split? And probably not. Well, they'll try, but again, the viability is just not there. So they'll probably join up more with the tech right. So because it'll be more libertarian rather than trad right. So we'll see.
Well, with that, we are going to transition over to our uncensored Monday night Q&A live stream. If you would like to join us, please scan that QR code or click the link below. I believe we will be there until 8:30 tonight, so you have all that time to join us, and let us know if you're a new member after we transition over there, because we would love to shout you out, and we may be doing some giveaways in some weeks in the future. We did one last week. That was a lot of fun. We gave out some prizes, some merch for free, and sent those out. So we would love to have you, and we'd love to answer as many questions as we can. So without further ado, we are going to transition over. Scan that QR code, click that link, and we'll see you over there.
Come on over, guys. Love to have you there.